Yeah.
Oh, right. You know that, right?
All right, those were really good predictions and connections and questions. And I want you to keep thinking of them so that you can share each of your own with me. Okay. I hope I didn't hurt them, said LaLoosh. Forget all that, said Diamond Jacques. You're a sensation. Next Friday night, you'll fight the anaconda, the biggest, fattest beast the city's ever seen. Will I have to hit him? Asked LaLoosh. Only if you want to live, said Diamond Jacques. Come one, come all, the undefeated fight sensation from the jungles of the Amazon, the anaconda, will meet newcomer, the mighty LaLoosh, 8 o'clock p.m. Celestial Theater.
I think I saw the anaconda.
Oh, really?
Yes, in real life.
That'd be cool. The hairless muscle man was huge, as tall as a spiral staircase, as wide as a wall of cupboards, as massive as a heap of undelivered packages. LaLoosh struck a gallant fighting pose. I'll squeeze him till he pops, the anaconda roared. The bell rang out, the fight began. Instantly, the anaconda's arm slithered around LaLoosh and locked him in a deadly sleeper hold. LaLoosh squirmed and squirmed to no avail. He was nimble, but the anaconda was nimbler. Just then, the first round ended. Lucky for LaLoosh. Don't give up, said Diamond Jacques. Confuse him with your speed. LaLoosh's booty skipped across the canvas. He feinted left, then right. His punches were too fast to see, his gloves a whistling blur. He ran figure eights around the anaconda's legs. He was fast, but the anaconda was faster.
Wait, really?
Round 3 began. With one enormous stride, the anaconda stomped LaLoosh. The little fighter was pinned. He was strong, but the anaconda was stronger. The anaconda knew he'd won. He grinned and took a moment to impress the crowd by kneeling down and flexing his gigantic gleaming arms. But one should never underestimate a man who loves his fish. LaLoosh sprang up. For country, mail, and Genevieve, he cried. And when the bell was rung, one man stood tall, the mighty LaLoosh. Just then, Genevieve flew down and perched upon LaLoosh's shoulder. And when he smiled, the crowd erupted in a frenzy. Bravo, bravo, they cried. Cameras flashed. LaLoosh's bony arm was raised in victory. From that day on, LaLoosh fought every challenger who dared to climb into the ring. Old Shatterhand, and Leroy, the Bolshevik, and the Pointillist, and even the Misanthrope. He never lost. They never won. And yet, stationery stores could make him sad, and envelopes, and above all, stamps. He missed the cobbled streets of his old neighborhood, the birthday parcels, the garret stairs with all their twists and turns. In his heart, LaLoosh was a postman.
One thing, he might be cheating.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think so. So when his old boss called and said, "These autocars have been a complete disaster. S'il vous plaît, would you please consider your old job?" LaLoosh's boxing days were done. So here, I didn't know what s'il vous plaît meant, and I was thinking if his boss is begging him for his job back, he's begging him. So he's probably saying, "Will you please," or "Would you please take your job back?" So that was my
Well,
guess.
he might say no for firing him at first. And I don't know, he wants to win all the trophies.
Write that as a prediction. "You can't retire," said Diamond Jacques. "The people need you." "Perhaps," LaLoosh replied, "but even more, the people need their mail." And just like that, LaLoosh traded in his famous gloves and booties for a humble postman's uniform. He reported to his old post office at the crack of dawn, and in no time, people had forgotten he'd ever been gone. All was just as it had been, with one exception. At the end of a long day, after all the mail was finally delivered and the sorting room was tidied up and swept, LaLoosh would stretch and yawn and head back home to Genevieve and to his old apartment building on the scene, where he'd taken a new room with skylights and a special nook for Genevieve and a most spectacular view. The end. So now, off of your worksheets, I want you all to write a prediction, a connection, or a question on each of your Post-its individually to share.
We
did?
can copy you. Can we write on the back? No, what's on the board?
Yeah, do your own. You were coming up with some great ones while I was reading.
Connection. A blackberry.
And you could ask if he's cheating. That could be a great question. You got one? All right, hold on. Wait. Yeah, that's on time.
16 minutes and 20 seconds.
is something that makes you think of life. Like all of my connections, I thought about like my friend, like his bird reminded me of my friend's bird, or a specific illustration reminded me of a movie. And you don't have to do connections. You can do. Oh yeah. You do? All right.
This is my prediction.
Okay, hold on. Okay, take another minute to think of your connections, predictions, and questions. Okay, as we're wrapping up, I want to hear what your connections, predictions, and questions were. What was yours? Did you make a question, prediction, or connection?
Prediction.
Okay.
My prediction was never come back to his old job.
Okay, but he did at the end. We read that.
But still.
You thought he wouldn't go boxing again?
Yes.
All right. What did you write on your post-it note?
How did he win?
All right. 3 or 4. That's a good one. Here, I'll put it on here. And then what's this?
He wants this up here. He wants this.
So what is your question?
It looks good. But it actually does look good.
All right, cool. Okay, second row. What did you guys come up with? A prediction? Okay, what's yours?
What is a staircase? A staircase is like a lot of stairs.
What did you guys come up with?
That's a staircase.
So you didn't come up with a question? How did you win all the games? What did you come up with? Questions?
I didn't even feel mine up all the way.
Ooh, that's a good one. All right.
Oh my God. She can go to other class and you can just keep sticking on paper.
Okay, so now that we're done making all of our connections and predictions and asking all of our questions, I want you to look back at the bottom of your sheet where you first made your prediction about the story, and I want you to think about if it was right or if it was wrong and why or why not. So for example, my prediction was that the small man would fight the larger opponents and lose. So I was right because the small man did fight larger opponents, but I was wrong because he didn't lose, he won.
Mine was right.
Yours was right? What was your prediction?
Because I think he weighed 6
Oh, okay, that's awesome. It was right. Yours was right too? That's Was yours correct? It was? Wow, these are a lot of questions. Okay, well, so it was kind of right, is what you're saying, but it was kind of wrong.
A large boxer is king, but my prediction is right.
What?
Mine was right, but it was wrong too.
That was
I said but the boy got it, man. But he did, but the boy went.
Alright, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, those are all awesome predictions and connections and questions. Thank you guys so much for sharing your time with me and doing this with me. And if you could pass your pens and markers up to the front, that'd be awesome. You can end it.